Okay. Hi, folks. Hi. It's another midnight show. Last one for at least a week. Good evening. This is Shirley Osborne. Good morning, good day, good evening, good afternoon, good midday, whichever one it is for you. I hope it's a good one. For me, it's almost midnight. And remember, we're doing our lives at different times of the day or night, depending on where you are in the world. It's nighttime for me, but what a night. This is going to be a very short one for two reasons. One, it's Sunday night, and so people are getting ready for work Monday morning, or some parts of the world are already at work or on their way to work, or have finished work for the first day of the week. And first of all, let me wish you a lovely, productive, constructive, lucrative, fulfilling, satisfying week at work. I hope this week is a good week for you. It was a good night for Rihanna. All I have to say to you tonight, if you have not seen the halftime show, go see it. You don't have to watch American football. You don't even have to know where America is, but go watch Rihanna's halftime show. Interestingly enough, just yesterday, remember Madonna, another iconic woman, performer, artist, singer, dancer, all that stuff. Madonna did the Super Bowl twice. I don't know if anybody else ever has, but Madonna did it twice because she was that big. But this weekend, she's been in the news for something entirely different. She was at the Grammys, and people are talking about the work she's had done on her face. Yeah, I saw the pictures, and I went and looked at some old video, and so on. And I kind of feel the same way. I have no problem whatsoever with people doing everything they can to maintain their looks, and especially when you're in the entertainment business, there's such pressure on women in particular, and women to maintain a certain physique. No wrinkles, no sagging. Women make fun of themselves about bits, heading south and things like that. And in many instances, in to some degree, women get away with it in the sense that after a while they're no longer required. They're just considered old and done, and nobody pays attention to them, or people pay less attention to them than they did when they were younger, and that's sad and stupid. It's another waste of a resource. United Nations says that women are the most underutilized resource in the world, and it's true at every age, every single age. So you have a woman like Madonna, who is such an amazing performer, and yet who cannot rest on her work, on just the quality of her work. She has to keep trying to ensure that her face looks a certain way if she's going to keep up with, or maybe compete with, younger people like Rihanna, for example. And that compete is another thing that women are made to do over and over and over and over again. And it's a problem. That's putting it nice. That's the euphemism of the century. It's a problem how women are made to compete against one another. Of course, you hear about the Queen Bee, and there's a Queen Bee, Queen Beyonce, who also has done the Super Bowl halftime show. And they have all kinds of names for women, and women who, when women compete with one another, it's thought to be so terrible, so terrible. Women are not supposed to, and yet women are forced to in order to survive. And it's another aspect of that for Black women, for example. Black women are forced to compete with everybody. And then, of course, the whole history of Africans in the world, especially Africans in the diaspora, Africans who had been trafficked and sold into slavery. The foundation of slavery, one of the things that kept slavery in the Western Hemisphere, in America and the Caribbean and South America, one of the things that kept it going for so long, that kept it strong, and so profitable for the people who were in charge of it, the Europeans, for so long, was how they pitted Black people against one another. So Black people were always competing with one another to see who could be in the house and who could get out of the sun. And there are all these horrible tales of, betrayal of Black folks betraying one another because there was this competition just to survive. And then after enslavement ended, there's this competition with white people, with brown people, with everybody else for Africans to survive and thrive, especially in this part of the world. Literally at the everyday level, at the street level, and in the higher echelons of the power structures of the world. So this notion of human beings competing against one another over and over and over again, in every sector for all kinds of specious reasons, plays out at the Super Bowl, plays out at the United Nations, played out at the World Economic Forum, plays out everywhere, in people's homes, in people's offices. And so one of the reasons why I do the work that I do is precisely because of that. Because somebody somewhere has to keep working to eradicate this. And there are people working on it all over the world, women and men who are working against all of these isms, sexism. There are people who are working against feminism, actually. There are people who are working against feminism, but there's people working against sexism and racism, elitism, things like this that keep people fighting one another, fighting just for survival, rather than fighting the things that are killing us, like climate change, for example. Like, seriously, the Super Bowl halftime show, really? It's a show. It's entertainment. It's fun. It's great. It's exciting. But it's not a life and death thing. So, for example, Mr. Trump getting himself all bent out of shape because Rihanna was doing the Super Bowl, It's another thing that you can choose to contend with or not. A friend of mine sent me a note today about that. And then I sent him back one tonight because the New York Post had an article about him ranting and raving, apparently fuming that Rihanna has no talent. I mean, it's debatable. Well, how do you find talent? What does Mr. Trump have talent for? Is it because she's a woman, given his history of women, of his treatment and his thinking about women? Is it because she's a Black woman? Is it because she's a non-American woman? All of these things people use against one another. All of these things women are fighting every day. Years ago, I wrote an article in my local paper in Montserrat, in the little island. I wrote an article about that, about me out in the world, fighting three different things, at least. I'm fighting that I'm Black. I'm fighting for survival just being Black. I'm fighting for survival being a woman and therefore being a Black woman. And in the rest of the world, fighting against being not of the rest of the world, not Western. So there's something wrong with you if you're a woman. There's something wrong with you if you're a Black woman. There's something wrong with you if you're not from the quote unquote the West. Such a waste, such an absolute unmitigated waste of human potential and possibility. So I want to leave with you tonight, in the 10 minutes I allotted myself. It might be 11. As you go about your work this week and the rest of your life, consider the things that you find yourself fighting against and ask yourself a couple of questions. What are you doing? Or can you do anything? Should you be doing anything to provide support for another person who's suffering this, who's fighting the same things, who's fighting the same battle? So, is there anything you can do? Should you be doing something? But of course, before that, what are you doing about yours? How are you fighting your battles? How are you fighting your battles? Women, we fight some of our battles by doing what Madonna did, getting our faces to fit the mold that was set by men, white men, old white men, the West. The old world, the new world too, actually, because the world of 2020 still requires that women do that. Funny that, isn't it? So which battles are you fighting? If you're a woman, I know at least one. I know at least one. No matter who you are, where you are in the world, you're fighting at least this one. And that's a massive one. It takes a lot. It wears you out. Don't get worn out. Just think about how to fight and think about partnerships. Think about who else is fighting the same battles, how they're doing it, and how you can support one another. That's how this battle is won. And that is why I'm doing Elevation 2023. Elevation 2023, which is what these lives are all about, is about bringing women together, women from all around the world. Black, white, brown, pink, purple, blue, green, women from Mars, if there are any around. Bringing women together to support one another so that we can support the world. Bringing women together to support one another, lift up one another, cheer one another on, provide friendship, connection, resources, affection, time, just being there even for other women. Just saying, hey, sister, I know what's going on. I know. Sometimes that is all it takes. I know. Just listen. So come join us for Elevation 2023. Elevation 2023 is going on all this year and culminates. That's a word. Culminates means ends, right? But it climaxes on December 31st this year. December 31st. In Montserrat, online, women from everywhere, supporting one another, cheering one another on, opening gates and doors and hearts and minds and books, and just saying, sister, I hear you, I see you, I see you, I see you. And the more of us do that, the lighter the battle gets, and the more likely we are to win. So that maybe our daughters and granddaughters and sons and grandsons, by the way, will have, if not this battle anymore, we'll have less of it to fight. So come join us for Elevation 2023. In the meantime, look after yourself, keep yourself strong and healthy. Be clear about the battles you're fighting, how you're fighting them, get support, give support. Get support, give support. And I saw all kinds of awful things said about Madonna and her face. Give compassion. She's in an industry in which women often feel forced. Women are actually often forced to do extreme, extraordinary things just to maintain, just to keep doing the work that they do. Yeah. So have yourselves a pleasant night, a lovely day, a beautiful afternoon, a bright morning, whichever one is going to be. And I will see you tomorrow. So until tomorrow, take good care.